Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝗣𝗚𝘅 channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today after a hiatus is my good friend Jayasree Saranathan, and you all know her. She's an author. She's a researcher. She has written several books. She's about dating of Mahabharata, among other things. She's a amazing person with several skill sets. And today we're going to talk about what is behind me, the Taj Mahal. Was it built by Shahjahan, or was it built by a Maharaja? Was it a temple? Was it a palace? What exactly was it? And we are going to go back in time as Jayasree ji will walk us through the research. And one fatal flaw that seems to have appeared fairly early on in the research that everybody else copied without checking the facts. What do the facts point to? All this and more. Now let's welcome Jayasree Saranathan ji. Jayasree ji, namaskar and welcome to 𝗣𝗚𝘅's channel.
Namaskar.
So, Jayasree, you've been working a lot on Ramayana, Mahabharata, dating and dating of all these events and things like that. So, how did your research lead you to look at Taj Mahal one more time? That is, whether it was actually built by Shah Jahan or was it somebody else's work that this man got it for some in quid pro quo for something? Walk us through how you landed on this.
Yeah, from a historical perspective, we go by the primary evidences.
Yes.
And as a tourist, we just go and see the location, the appearance, everything. In both ways, the Taj Mahal doesn't look like a Mughal structure. That is, as a tourist, when you go over there, you can definitely see certain emblems there, which are not Mughal, but which are Vedic. The most important one that I want to say is just behind you, I can see the Taj Mahal. On
Yes.
top of it, you see the dome. It is
Yes.
not like how the mosques are being made, particularly the pinnacle. You see the pinnacle with a crescent like thing.
Yes.
In all the mosques, the crescent will be oblique. It is turned like this. Whereas in this, it is just flat. It's horizontal.
Right.
You cannot find any mask with a horizontal crescent, whereas this is different. So that itself shows this is something different from the normal mask. That is, as a tourist, you can see that. And also as a tourist, you can see the top of the mask having
Dome.
some kind of kalash or kumbh
Yes.
or the
Yes.
water pot with coconut on it and even mango leaves just dropping from that. So that
Right.
is there. Even though Allah is written, the same feature, what you're seeing on top of the mask, it has been inlaid in the structure there in the Charbagh or in the garden region. So as a tourist, you will definitely be wondering why it is like this. As a historian, what you will see is the primary evidences. The primary evidences are the texts that were written during the period when this was made. There is Babarnama. And there is another one by a French traveler. Actually, he was a diamond merchant who claimed that he came to India at the time this Taj Mahal was built. And he has claimed that he had seen it personally, the commencement ceremony or how it was commenced. He was here while the Taj Mahal was built on the very first commencement I had seen. And nobody had read the original French book. He only had claimed the 22 years it had taken so many laborers, all that he had written, and that has been coming in our history books all along. But what happened? The foreigners themselves, the Europeans, initially the Europeans only had access to this, and they only went and then analyzed. It was not a tourist spot some 100 years ago. Indians had not gone over there. So when the foreigners came and then when they checked the original transcript, that is the original manuscript of Tavernier, he is of the French person's name is Tavernier. They found there are a lot of gaps in what we are reading in the English version. They found that he was not here at all at the time of the commencement of the Taj Mahal. 10 years later only he had come. And like that, when it got word over, he was not here. So he had just written by hearsay or what was rumored. It was not true. So that is the first correction that we have to make in the history books. So that cannot be taken as a primary evidence. That is, Tavernier's travelogue cannot be taken as a primary evidence, even though until now all the historians of India have taken it as a primary evidence and then got the information from that and then transferred them into our history books. So what is the next primary evidence? That is Badshah Nama. That was written during the time of Shahjahan himself by his chronicler, and it has some 1600 pages. Of all the 1600 pages, only 2 pages talk about Taj Mahal or Mumtaz. So that itself will just make you wonder. Suppose Mumtaz was such a loved person by Shahjahan, and this Taj Mahal was such a great monument made by him for the sake of his beloved wife. He would have definitely devoted more pages, more details would have been there. It's not so. In those 2 pages, it's clearly written that Shah Jahan bought or got, it's not bought, he got the palace of Raja Man Singh from his grandson Raja Jai Singh. So this is the contemporary account on Taj Mahal. It is also written, the dates are also written, the day in their calendar is written, that is in 1631, Mumtaz had died. The next year, the king, that is Shah Jahan, got the palace. And the very following year, he buried her under the dome. So within a year, the dome was made, the structure was made, he was able to bury, means it had not taken 22 long years, according to this contemporary chronicle. How to bring it out to the public? So as far as I am concerned, you go by the primary evidence, it says it was the already built structure or a structure that was pre-existing, which he acquired from Raja Singh, that is the grandson of Man Singh, and he used it for his purpose. So that is what the contemporary history says. So the ASI should go through it and then bring it to the notice of, or bring it to the notice of the Supreme Court or whatever court has asked for, and then we have to make the proper corrections in the history books.
So, Jayasree ji, I went to Taj Mahal a couple of times, and I remember one time an ASI guide telling me that all the artisans who worked on this, they were blinded and their hands were cut off. They were blinded. That much I remember for sure. And some hands were cut off, and that they were rich for their lives because the idea was that no other monument of this grandeur should be built. So all this is just made up stories, do you think?
Yeah, actually, there is no evidence for whether he had done that, but I can believe that he had done that because further on, that is, after acquiring this monument, he started renovating it. That is, initially, Taj Mahal was not a marbled one. It was made of red sandstone, which you can make out from the basement that you can see from behind that is from the side of Yamuna River. From the side of Yamuna River, if you are taking a look at the Taj Mahal, you can see it on top of a very huge foundation, which actually has 2 stories. It is made up of red sandstone. So the Taj Mahal has some totally 7 stories. So from the 3rd story onwards, only are being covered by marble. So whether that marble cover was already there or not, that we come to know from 3 letters. It's not letters, we call it as firman. Firman is an edict. The king used to issue orders or edicts or firmans. He sent a firman, 3 firmans to Man Singh to send stone cutters, to send marble. And Jai Singh did not send them. He just withheld them. So there must have been a tussle between Shah Jahan and Jai Singh, which has not been brought out in the history books, I should say. So in that case, you just imagine the people who refused to come and work could have been tortured. So the torture that they are talking about could be about the people who refused to come and who stayed with Jai Singh and who did not want to contribute anything to the making of this particular structure, who did not want to get the marbles from the mines. There was a mine near Jaipur from where he wanted to get the marbles, and the firmans are issued to Jai Singh to send cart loads of marbles, and they were not sent properly. So in that case, what you can expect Shah Jahan to have done? He would have tortured them. and that had entered into the talks of the people, as though people who have done this, who have worked on this, were tortured. They would have been brought, they would have been made to work, and the king would have tortured them. That is what had happened, not because this kind of beautiful structure should not be made again by these people, so let me cripple them. Not because of that. It could have been only because of this. So there is no evidence that they have tortured him, but there is a probability he tortured them for some other reason. The reason was they were not willing to come. Then there comes the question why they were not willing to come. Why Jayasingh did not send them? That question comes. So when you are going through this Badshah Nama itself, where we are able to see, it just says, it kept on asking, that is the king kept on asking Jayasingh to hand over his palace. He refused. He didn't oblige. But if you are looking at the background of Jayasingh, he was the commander-in-chief of Shahjahan. He was working for Shahjahan. He was a vassal state, that is, he was in Jaipur. He was a vassal state of the Mughal Empire. So they had already, they were in a good relationship. But this place was in the custody of Jayasingh, and he refused to part with it. The king kept on asking. And then the next year, the body was brought. The first year she died, and the next year it was brought. In the Bachana, it is being told that after the body was brought, due to the religious reasons and for the sake of respecting the dead person, he gave up. And he did not take anything in return. Only the king gave him a piece of government land as a kind of compensation. So this makes us wonder, how could he just give away something like that? He says it's his ancestral property. And there is another work also written just before that by a foreign traveler who came here for trade. He explained the places of Agra, where he talks about Mansingh's palace. But Mansingh's palace was the last but one in that stretch, some 10.5 mile distance. Many palaces were there, one that is next to each other, and Mansingh's palace was the last but one. So what was the last one? Which was whose was the last one? What was there? And whether this was Mansingh's ancestral property or it was something else. And that, when we are thinking about that, uh, no, this is a disputable one. Whether this is the palace of Mansingh or this was by itself a temple, because researchers by people like P.N. Oak and even Godbole and others, it shows it has all the elements of a temple. So a temple cannot be a palace. Then this cannot be Mansingh's palace. So Mansingh's palace must be somewhere nearby, which he would have given. Suppose this place was desecrated by the Mughals, nobody would have used it. And the Mughal rulers will never call a temple a temple. For them, it is a structure. It is a palace or it is a place, that's all. So you cannot expect them to enter in their chronicles that they acquired a temple. You can never expect. You can only expect them, they acquired a palace, they acquired a place, that's all. Or we desecrated a temple, that may be there. So that wording, you at the same, though I say that this one is a contemporary, being a contemporary work, this can be taken as a primary source of evidence, we cannot totally rely on it. Because with what intention they have written, we don't know. They would have meant a structure which need not be a palace, but which could be a temple. And the palace could have been elsewhere, and that palace could have been taken from Jayasingh. And this was in the custody of Jayasingh. This could have been in the custody of Jayasingh, because this has all the features of a temple and not a palace.
To the other buildings that we talk of, like 10 mile stretch buildings, palaces along the banks of Yamuna, how many of those structures are still standing today?
No, I know there are not many, but there is one just behind Taj Mahal. That is on the other side of Yamuna River. That is not a palace, that is a garden. And that garden was in a dilapidated condition for a very long time. Only 100 years ago, it was found out to be a garden. And the archaeological department, it acquired it, and it had made it a kind of part of the entire Taj Mahal concept.
I
Because
see.
that could have been a palace which was destroyed by Shahjahan or his predecessor or somebody. And on the other side, there are a lot of temples. Many temples are there. So we cannot say which one. They even just come to this particular that is the garden, which is known as Moonlight Garden. Moonlight Garden. Why the ASI has taken that into consideration is when you are taking the burial ground or a mausoleum. In the case of the Mughals, normally it will be in the center, and it will be surrounded by the gardens. But here, Taj Mahal is on one side, and on one side the Bagh is there. Char Bagh, they call it as Char Bagh. 4 gardens are there, crisscrossed by some waterways, like a plus point. So totally 4 gardens are there. Actually, the entire size of the garden, the Char Bagh, is far greater than the area occupied by the Taj Mahal. So usually they used to have in the center. But today's in the center of the Charbagh, there is one small fountain, and Lord Curzon only got a marble slab fixed around it. So many foreign dignitaries are coming to India. They all take the snaps in front of that. That is, they're sitting on that slab only. Because you sit on the slab, the entire Taj Mahal will be seen in full view. So that slab was made by Curzon, but the fountain was there right from the time of Shah Jahan. I think it was made by Shah Jahan. In the case of the tombs of Akbar, Humayun, and others, the Charbagh is there in their case also. But the mausoleum or the graveyard, that is the coffin, will be kept at the center. Around that only will be the gardens. But here they have not kept it in the center. It has gone on one side. Why? So based on that, there are people who have been asking, this cannot be a planned mausoleum. It would have been a previously existing structure acquired by Shah Jahan and then made it into a mausoleum for his wife, because it is on one side. So when this Moonlight Garden was found out by the ASI some 100 years ago, on the other side of Yamuna, see, Yamuna takes a curve in that place. In that curved region only, this side, that what you're seeing, this Taj Mahal is here. Just on the other side, there is this Moonlight Garden. So what they say, they take the entire structure, Moonlight Garden, then Taj Mahal, then Charbagh. When you're taking the entire stretch, they say it is in the middle. So they would have taken it as like in the Quranic idea of paradise. In the center, there will be a fountain, and the center is a very important one, surrounded by the baghs. So they say it's in the center if you are taking Moonlight Garden also. But if you're actually making a measurement of it from the satellite images that we have, it is not in the center. But ASI has been maintaining that, and that is also now under the control of ASI only. So there are issues in accepting this, and that the Moonlight Bagh should have been a temple or some palace which was destroyed by them.
Jayasree ji, I have been there a couple of times, and if you look at have you been there to Taj Mahal?
Yeah, I have seen. I have gone there even to Agra Palace also, just to see the other signs, whether any other signs are there.
See, if you look at it, the graves are on top, the caskets are on top. Then they say, no, this is not the real thing. It is one level below. So you can actually descend one level below. And there again, the same caskets are there, Shah Jahan and Mumtaz.
Yes.
But by the time you go to that level, it is really hot and humid. I don't know. I went in, I think, June time frame. Extremely hot. The interesting thing I'm noticing, now that you mention it, not the main dome, but the 2 side domes behind me, right? Those things are very close to the Jaipur Palace. Jaipur Palace comes in a lot of movie scenes. Viewers, you can see, many 60s movies, you will see that scene. There'll be Udaipur Palace, there'll be Jaipur Palace. I mean, those palaces are livable. So that again, that architecture, octagonal base, right? And even there is also Kalash form.
Yeah,
you look
Kalash.
at the smaller ones also.
Yes, there's the design. There is a design on the top. You can see it running around the entire structure. It's a design of a snake, they say. It's all Rajput design. That is in Rajput palaces, those designs are there. And also at the bottom, you can see the convex ones. I
Hmm.
see. I have visited another place in near Mysore, Tondanur, which was originally a temple turned into a mosque by Dargah by Tipu Sultan. There also I noticed all these things present, including the dome structure, how the pinnacle was there. So that is the local architecture, I should say. But this one, experts have said that it is Rajput style only. It is not that is, even people are comparing it with that Angkor Wat, or even a lot of temple structures. Like the central dome will be there, then surrounded by four minarets. That is there. That is the people are able to say that only those people that is in the 10th century or 8th century constructions were all similar to this, and we cannot combine it with people say no, it was all mixed, Mughal and Vedic mixed. It cannot be, because the very basic thing, it should be in the center. The mausoleum should be in the center, and also, as you said, it is in the third floor. That is the actual body is there is a coffin is in the third floor. That is what you are seeing at the eye level. From there only the marble structure starts, and then above that is a cenotaph, which is just a decorative coffin kept under there. Normally in the mausoleums, it will be in the bottommost only, not on the third floor. So that also is strange according to this one. And in the bottom areas only, there are 22 rooms, which people can easily see from behind. Those who are traveling on the other side, that is behind, that is in the Yamuna River, they can see some rooms there, and even the ventilators, and then some of the doors have been closed. And to tell you the fact, some 100 years ago, there was one door, a timber door made of timber, and an American who came and he has taken a sample of it and then did carbon dating of it, and he found that it belonged to 300 years before Shahjahan. So on hearing that, our ASI immediately closed the topic, removed the timber, and then closed it with brick wall. So from outside you can see that. From outside there is a brick wall. Why? What is there? And from inside also, like only recently means a few decades ago, they found it from the terrace. Some staircases going down into the 22 rooms, and the staircase has been closed. And one of the persons, that is a tourist, had managed to just peep through, and he said it's a big hall inside, full of pillars and then broken idols. A lot of ornamental things are there. So something is tucked inside. Right from the time of Shah Jahan, it was like that, but it was not. Nobody is allowed to see. Okay, it happened in the Mughal period or later in British period. Why in independent Indian period also it is happening like that? We should know
Yes.
what is there.
We
See,
deserve to know the truth. Yes.
yeah, we should know the truth.
Very true, Jayasree ji. And viewers, I'm hoping that ASI will take cognizance of that. They take cognizance of many things from P Guru's videos. Here is a suggestion. PMO should take a look at it. ASI should take a look at it. Come out with a white paper. Come out with a white paper that why are there 7 stories? Why is there a first lowest levels are all red stone? And what are all the other buildings? This is you have to hit the reset button. You can't just
Yes.
take one source which is faulty
And
and
one more evidence I will give you. This is
yeah.
by Aurangzeb. And the structure was supposed to have been completed in 1653, according to Tavernier. That's a 22-year period. A year before that, Aurangzeb has sent a letter to Shah Jahan saying that he visited. It was known as Akbarabad at that time. I visited and I saw the mausoleum of Mumtaz, and it has the structure has developed cracks. He says that the main dome had developed cracks, and there are seepages in the minarets. And I talked to the builders, main builders, that is the chief builders. They say for the minarets they have to remove the entire dome and then they have to rebuild it. But for the main dome, they don't know how to repair it. So why this talk is going on? Why this was written by Aurangzeb? So when this structure was supposed to be under construction, you cannot repair the structure which is under construction. Only an old structure can be repaired or renovated. So it was an old structure. It had developed so many, just not one or two, almost in all the minarets, in all the domes, there was leakage. Even the basement, there was a crack. So why this is reported even before the supposed time of completion? So that letter is there with the ASI, and that is there, that is published, that is in the public domain. So there is something fishy about it. So for the common man, we should know the history of it. So what happened to that? What it was originally? Was it, see, it was built by him totally, that is a different thing. He tortured people, that is also an entirely different thing. But it was something else earlier, but it was acquired by him and renovated or changed, remodeled to his requirement than what it was. And he himself has said it was got from Mansing's grandson. Then what it was, that we should know. So in that case, what was there in the 22 rooms? Why those rooms are closed? What is the need for to close them? Why did, okay, let the public not know about it. Let the public not be allowed into it. What about the ASI? Have they gone inside and then seen what is it? It is their duty. It is under their control. That means they have to be clear about what are the things inside there. Shouldn't they do that? They have to do it.
I think someone will have to move court to force them to act or something of that nature. I think that's what's going to happen here. Don't know when, but I think it is. We deserve to know the truth.
Yeah, the court has asked. Let us see we expect the ASI to seriously look into open the rooms and then make them all public. Bring them out to the public notice. Even if there is nothing, let them say. Let us not have suspicion about what is there in it.
Go ahead.
I would like to talk about one more thing. That is about the archaeoastronomy of the structure, which no one have talked so far, because there lies the clue of what this is. There is one lady, Amelia Carolina, of Italian origin. She is a PhD in physics, and she has written she has studied not Taj Mahal but the Charbagh structure. She studied and then she has submitted a paper. It was published in a journal. Now it is for open access in ResearchGate also. She has just observed about the movement of the sun rays and what are the position of solstices and equinox. And interestingly, she found that the center of the Charbagh seemed to be of a very important one, because if you are on the center on the equinox day, the sun passes through. At the time of summer solstice, the sun rays just pass through the northern corners from east to west. At the time of the Charbagh, I mean. See, for this you should know the directions. Like the Taj Mahal is facing south, and Charbagh is on the southern side. So on the east here, then the Taj Mahal is to the north, and the south of the Charbagh is something else, and behind, like this. So when you are looking at the east, you can see the solstices and the summer and winter solstice suns just passing through, the summer in the northern side and winter in the southern side. And on the equinox day just above it. And she was just wondering why it is. She has just published it. And on coming to know, I was stunned, because this kind of structure shows that there was something very important at the center of the Charbagh. In Stonehenge, there are several, even our temples have been made such a way that the equinox day it passes through. You can see the Triplicane temple, and then
Anandapadmanabha Swami
temple, it passes on the center. Not only that, the solstices are there. That means the Charbagh must have been a very important place where the center possessed something sacred. And for Taj Mahal also, because the Taj Mahal is exactly behind. The dome of the Taj Mahal is exactly behind the center, means the Taj Mahal also must be having the equinox on top of it. But we are not able to see, because we are seeing only north to south direction. We have to see it from east and western direction. Then only you will know whether it is just passing on that. No one had seen it. It should be seen. And here, what happened? An inscription in Sanskrit has been got from this Charbagh. It was said to have been removed by Shahjahan. Now it is available in Lucknow Museum. An archaeologist by name Kale had analyzed it, and he has written in Epigraphia Indica, saying that it says that this place had not just one but two temples, one Shiva Temple and one Vishnu Temple, built by 𝗤𝗏 of Chandela dynasty. And the year also is given as 1155. It is given in that inscription. And this Shiva temple was just whitish in color, such that the Shiva, he discarded his whitish Meru mountain, Himalaya mountain, and he had started residing there. So this one, the people call it as Bateshwar because it is there in Bateshwar. Bateshwar inscription. It is not Bateshwar inscription, but here this Taj Mahal inscription, which was removed from the Charbagh. That means the Charbagh should have been a Shiva temple, not this Taj Mahal, not Taj Mahal. So in the center, the Shiva deity should have been there. The huge sprawling ground should have been a temple of Shiva, and this was totally destroyed. And this red sandstone Taj Mahal, which was originally red sandstone, must have been of Vishnu Temple. That in that Vishnu temple, why I am saying inside the dome, the central dome, sun, Surya, how you draw Surya, in the way only it has been drawn. So this is Surya Narayana or somebody, a Vishnu temple must have been there. And the Shiva temple was completely destroyed. And then all that taken, that marbles, it is a whitish Shiva, means the marbles of that Shiva temple was used for making this Taj Mahal. When he was running short of it, he has asked Jayasree to send something, and then he refused to give. Raja Jayasree. So he kept on sending sermons, and then he has tortured the people who refused to oblige his order. So this must have been the background. So what the ASI should do is to do an archaeoastronomy study of Charbagh and also the Taj Mahal. Suppose it is really found, this lady has written that research article is there in the net. Suppose it was found that the central region was the place where the equinox was passing. Definitely it must have been a sacred site. It was not sacred for the Mughal structures. No Mughal structure is built by taking into account the solstices or the equinoxes. Only we Indians, particularly our temples, have been made. And this Bateshwar inscription, which is there in the Lucknow Museum, must be taken out and then studied by the historians. So that will bring out the entire thing. So what would have been the thing is, these two temples, one thing, the 𝗤𝗲𝗍𝙑 were, their dynasty only have built 𝗤𝗲𝗍 temples. You know how 𝗤𝗲𝗍 temples are just brimming with art and architectural beauty. So these two temples were also like that, and only 𝗤𝗲𝗍𝙑 had made these two temples, and after him it would have gone into the custody of Jayasree or Mansingh. Mansing's palace also would have been there somewhere nearby. Only that palace was exchanged for a piece of government land. But these two things, it is told in the history of 𝗤𝗲𝗍𝙑 that these temples were destroyed by Mughals. It was desecrated. So nobody were worshipping them. So it became just useless for Hindus. They started occupying it. And for the marble and other things, they might have taken from Mansingh's palace, and they compelled Jayasree to supply marbles. That must have been the background story, because we cannot ignore the archaeoastronomical importance of Charbagh. The Charbagh, the huge Charbagh, must have been a very sacred place once. So that from that angle also the historians and ASI should analyze. I hope through your channel somebody is listening and then taking steps to do it.
Let's hope so. And thank you so much, Jayasree ji. And we are curious, and I think like Jayasree ji says, only Hindus and Indian were the ones who were so intimately familiar with astrology and astronomy. Nobody else. At least the Mughals had no inclination of all this stuff.
Yes.
So there is a clear difference in the way things are being looked at here. So it's a very intriguing point that you brought out, Jayasree ji. And let's hope that the ASI acts on this, and we'll see where things go. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you.